Hello, this is Makenzie Benish. I am 18 years old and am from Farmington, Arkansas. I still currently reside there and attend the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. My favorite piece of art that I found at the Crystal Bridges Museum of Modern Art in Bentonville was Haystacks, which was painted by Martin Johnson Heade in the mid-19th century. It is in this type of artwork that Heade uses the luministic style. A history of Western art defines luministic art as art where the artist emphasizes the effect of light on the landscape. This term is a 19th century American art term that Heade helped define and is very famous for. According to the Martin Johnson Heade biography, Heade was the only 19th century American artist to create such an extensive body of works in both still life and landscapes. Heade's artwork was included in a Hudson River School landscape exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in 1987. This caused a huge controversy to arise between art historians because according to Theodore Stebbins, Heade's marsh scenes make it clear that he was not of the Hudson River School. Heade traveled abroad and lived in Rome for 2 years. I believe this is where most of his inspirations and ideas for his artwork came from. Though Heade still painted the New England salt marshes, they do remind art historians of other works of art from different artists. This photo is a photo of Monet's Stacks of Wheat. It is important to note that in this time period, in Europe, Claude Monet was a great influence in the Impressionist movement. According to About This Artwork, Impressionists focused on the use of light on natural scenes or man-made objects. In this movement, shadows tended to be painted with color, not with black as done before, and blurry strokes were meant to blur in the painter's eyes. The similarities and differences between luministic paintings and impressionist paintings can be seen between these two works of art. Monet's haystacks are the focal point of his painting, while Heade's focal point is the clouds behind the picturesque setting. Monet, who was a leader in the Impressionist movement, typically paints outdoor scenes with bright, vibrant colors. He captures the images with little detail, as we could see in the fuzzy haystacks, and attempts to capture images as someone would if they just had one glimpse of it. On the contrary, Heade's haystacks is very detailed in the reflection of the clouds in the marsh and with the clouds and trees alone. Monet does not use a lot of shadowing, while Heade does. In the mid to late 18th century in America, most artists were transcendentalists. According to About This Artwork, transcendentalists believe that nature is sacred, and that if it is portrayed as though it had never been touched by man and only by God, then the viewers would feel closer to God. The transcendentalist movement was a huge idea that any type of art should be a celebration of nature. This is a photo of Asher B. Durand's Kindred Spirits. This painting is famous for its Hudson River School tendencies, which is the school that many art historians believe that Heade's artwork falls under. Both Kindred Spirits and Haystacks are luminous paintings. Both are transcendentalists and paint nature as untouched by man, only touched by the hand of God. This is demonstrated by the picture-perfect landscapes depicted in both paintings. The main difference between the two is that Durand's Kindred Spirits is much more intense than Heade's Haystacks. The effect of light used in Durand's Kindred Spirits is extremely dramatic compared to Heade's Haystacks. After looking at both paintings, the viewer would see Durand's Kindred Spirits as an adventure, while they would see Heade's Haystacks as a calm, serene day in New England. One painting causes the viewer to be excited, while the other causes the viewer to feel relaxed and calm. With this being said, Haystacks and Kindred Spirits appeal to two different types of people. Therefore, the significance of Heade's Haystacks is contrary to what some believe. Heade's paintings fall under a school of art all his own. Haystacks is an oil painting on canvas, according to the signage, where color is used to dramatically portray a difference between light and darkness and its effect on the painting. For example, we see a light blue sky slowly merge into fluffy white clouds. As we get closer to the horizon, the clouds darken and become almost ominous before they slowly begin to melt into a dark green horizon. The painting has symmetry between colors. Colors are light at the extreme top and bottom of the painting, but when they near the horizon, they mirror each other in intense darkness. An interesting point about this painting is that although there is a dramatic difference in the intensity of color throughout the painting, there still is no dramatic difference in the reaction from the viewer. Heat excellently uses shading and luminisms to create a calming sunset effect in haystacks. Heat's use of oil on canvas helps create a dreamy effect for the viewer. With his painting techniques and his use of oil on canvas, he demonstrates a perfect balance between fine detail and idealization. With this, he creates a perfect scene that relaxes viewers. The size of haystacks is actually larger than most of Heat's artwork. At this larger size, Heat is able to depict a landscape horizontally and make it look more realistic for the viewer. I originally chose this artwork because it reminds me of home. This may sound silly, but before I read the signage, I thought the water was a pond. I've always had this dream of packing a small bag, riding my bicycle to a field near my house that looks much like the one that he depicted, and spending a whole day in the sunny field with freshly mowed grass surrounded by crisp hay bales and water. When I first looked at Heat's haystacks, I saw myself in the scene. I saw myself lying under the green tree in the corner in the shade. From my perspective, under the tree, I saw the still water and watched the perfect puffy clouds over my head reflected into the water. I could hear the birds chirping, feel the warmth of the sunny day on my legs, and smell the pages of my old, crinkly, worn book. I chose Martin Johnson Heath's Haystacks because, in my opinion, regardless of everything I just researched about the painting styles and movements, Heath achieves what should be the goal of art, a getaway for the viewer. My favorite kind of art takes me right out of the moment that I'm in and lets me escape into the world of the unknown. Martin Johnson Heath did just that.